Hey everyone, Jag Taggart 93 here with another little rant, and this time we're ranting about ConnectiCon, the positive, the negative, my memories, and why I stopped going. Now, ConnectiCon was my very first convention, and I've been regularly going to it every year from 2008 to 2016. My streak ended last year for a lot of reasons, which I'll get to shortly. I also want to make it clear here that before we really get into it, much of what I have to say about ConnectiCon in this rant is pretty critical. I'll try to sprinkle in and add in as much positive as possible to keep it balanced, but still, whatever you hear, this is only my opinion. If you're going, then I really hope you do enjoy yourself. Despite my criticisms, the best part of ConnectiCon has always been meeting other fans of the communities. Indeed, the biggest thrill for me has always been seeing other cosplayers dressing as characters from my favorite games, movies, and comics and other media. So why did I stop going to ConnectiCon in 2017? Well, let's look at this program cover. Let's look at it really closely. Let's get a good look here. This program book is for this upcoming ConnectiCon. Now, does this program book look like it's for a convention that's inclusive, safe, and fun? No, not really. The only ones appearing to have any kind of fun here are the underage Sailor Scouts getting drunk in the background. Also pictured in the foreground is a very bitter-looking nostalgia critic who's got his back turned to the inebriated girls. And believe me, I'm trying so hard, so very hard, to not make the obvious joke here. So very hard. Now, okay, I can do it, yeah. A lot of you know exactly what I'm referencing here, but the people at ConnectiCon who commissioned this art apparently did not. They had to have been completely and utterly oblivious to the community that they're serving. Completely and utterly oblivious to the Change the Channel fiasco and the cover-up and everything like that. And yeah, oblivious ConnectiCon staff. That's largely been my experience. Maybe not so much oblivious, but out of touch, I should say. Now, next on this cover, we see Pearl behind the bar, and she looks pissed. She looks like she's glaring right at the critic. And I guess insert your own reasons here as to why that might be. And last but not least, we have two Care Bears, and my god, it looks like one's trying to talk the other off the proverbial ledge. And that's our program book for this year's ConnectiCon. Let's recap. We have Sailor Scouts, acting incredibly unsafe, to put it one way. We have the Nostalgia Critic, looking very bitter and jaded. We have Pearl, stewing with anger over there. And two Care Bears, sobbing and depressed, possibly suicidal. All of them in a hotel bar, it looks like. So, the big takeaway here is ConnectiCon 2018. Come be unsafe, bitter, angry, depressed at the hotel bar. Yay! Now, I really don't think I'm reaching too much here with that. I mean, how can you not feel at least a little disturbed or weirded out by this book cover? The cruel irony is that ConnectiCon is supposed to be a dry, family-friendly convention. And yet, one of the personal highlights for me has always been drinking at the hotel bar during the day, in cosplay, of course. At least then I can enjoy some adult beverages while not having to deal with unsavory Hartford muggles that pack the bar Friday and Saturday night. Unfortunately, I've witnessed a few incidents Friday and Saturday night at that convention, at that bar, where there'd be some randos that would wander in, and they would not take no for an answer from one of my female friends. To compound matters, in 2016, ConnectiCon ended their Saturday night programming really early, like around 9 o'clock. The idea, they claimed, was to allow con patrons to have fun in the Hartford area. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, Hartford is not the most safe place at night, especially for socially awkward nerds. The people have made their concerns known to ConnectiCon and again about this, but each time we were told, oh, it's not so bad. Just travel in groups, it'll be fine. Yeah, okay, some people might have been robbed, and others might have had their cars broken into and looted, but it doesn't happen that often. Yeah. Besides, even though the panels were done by 9, there was always the option of the hotel bar, where we can go, be unsafe, and be bitter, angry, and depressed as well, just like in the ConnectiCon program book for this year's event. Now, okay, seriously, this year it looks like there's some, emphasis on some, like one or two things, happening after 9 o'clock. But they are across the street at the theater. Friday, there's some gaming event with Channel Awesome. Oh boy. And Saturday, there's something about Rocky Horror going on. So if I was going this year, the post 9 p.m. channel Awesome Gaming thing might interest me. If it was still 2009, 2010, 2011. As for Rocky Horror, I was never a huge fan. So yeah, if I was attending, I'd be back at the bar both nights, drinking, bitter, angry, and depressed. Again, just like those characters in the program book. Man, they nailed it this year. So yeah, that's really a large part why I didn't go in 2017, and why I won't be going this year either. ConnectiCon has gotten so huge, and yet currently doesn't really offer much that would make me willing to attend. In 2016, my highlights were being with friends, which I do throughout the year anyway. Attending great panel about Doom level building, which I did the year previously, and seeing some great cosplay. I've been to a lot of conventions, but the best cosplays I've ever seen have always been at ConnectiCon. And for me, what I consider a good cosplay is not necessarily the quality of the cosplay itself, but rather the originality and the cosplay's connection to something I personally like. Yeah, I know, it's extremely subjective. But among the ocean of Smash Brothers characters, Homestucks, and Deadpools, seeing that one person cosplaying a border security officer from the game Papers, Please is truly special. Other personal standouts include, in no particular order since my ConnectiCon memories all kind of blur together. I remember one year there was a really good Akira and Yamagata duo. I also remember a few years seeing a Big Daddy and Little Sister duo from BioShock. I remember seeing the Ginyu Force a couple years. I think this might have been a staffer actually, but maybe not. But I do remember regularly seeing a Raven from ECW, Professional Wrestling. And quite a few years, all the Doctor Who cosplayers, who I always enjoy tagging along with as Seven. Those photo shoots are really one of my favorite memories, actually. And of course, drinking as a disgruntled Seven at the bar is also a fun memory as well. Man, I got a lot of memories at that bar. But yeah, here's the thing. Cosplay is up to the fans and not something that's organized by the convention staff itself. So again, ConnectiCon, the organization itself, has very little to offer me. The other part of the issue is that there are so many convention options in the area now. Just recently, I attended Comic-Con at Foxwoods. For less than what I would pay at ConnectiCon, I went to Comic-Con and I got to see celebrities like Kane Hodder, Robert Englund, Lance Henriksen, Booker T, and so many others that I'm generally interested in meeting. Whereas at ConnectiCon, the only guests I really know and care about, I shouldn't really say that, it makes it sound mean, the only ones I really consider to be an attraction is John St. John, whom I've already met at ConnectiCon some years ago. The other guests don't really do it for me. So that's really it. I understand that part of it is really subjective, and that ConnectiCon itself stopped offering stuff that I'm interested in. Doesn't mean that other people can't have fun. Now, it used to have a lot of things I was interested in. I used to be a huge Doug Walker fan, and I saw him quite a few times at ConnectiCon in the past. And I saw him a bunch of times at UConn as well. As I already said, I've already met John St. John as well in the past. And yeah, he really is an awesome guy, but I'm not really keen on paying full ticket price to just see John St. John again, because I already have, and yeah. I also always loved meeting and chatting with the late horror fiction author, C.J. Henderson. That was always a big attraction for me, but sadly that's not really possible, nor can be helped. The other part of this whole thing, though, is that I was turned off to the whole ConnectiCon experience a few years ago by the impression of the convention staff being willingly oblivious to the feedback of its guests. Heck, I remember attending feedback panels and it quickly degenerating into, you tell us what you didn't like, and we'll tell you why we're sorry you feel that way. Now, while until 2016 I kept attending and the good outweighed the bad, there was usually quite a few issues to varying levels of severity, like overzealous, condescending badge-checking staff, impolite hotel staff, questionable panel room scheduling, replacing cosplay chess with cosplay deathmatch, a hilariously over-the-top reaction to peace-tying anything and everything that could be considered a prop, mismanagement of artist alley hours, and quite a few other issues that we'd bring up and often get a very defensive reaction by the convention staff. Granted, there were times the convention staff did make adjustments to the feedback of the community, and not all the adjustments were terrible. A lot of them were pretty helpful and pretty good, but still, there's always that air of I can't quite put my finger on it. Like, I remember, again, going to the feedback panels and almost feeling like I had to do the Oreo thing. Start with something positive, then bring up my criticism or my concern, and then end with something positive, just so I don't hurt their feelings. It would degenerate very quickly, these feedback panels. And to be honest, I'm not sure if there always was a feedback panel. But anyway, ConnectiCon 2016 really just felt like a convention that was resting on its laurels, with very little offered of veteran ConnectiCon goers in the way of original programming. Now again, if you are going to 2018 ConnectiCon, please go in with a positive mindset, okay? Please get the most bang for your buck. Enjoy the heck out of it. Enjoy the cosplay and the community as much as possible. Also, please be safe and please be smart. Also, please let me know after the con in the comments if the elevator still sounds like it says lobby in an overly seductive tone. I would appreciate that. That was always another personal ConnectiCon highlight of mine, the way that that sultry elevator would say lobby. If you've been to ConnectiCon, or if you go, you'll know what I mean. If not, I probably just sound really weird right there. Anyway, that is it. Thank you all for listening. Now again, if you do go, I really will appreciate if you tell me about your experience at this ConnectiCon. Or if you've gone to ones in the past, please, leave some feedback there as well. I would love reading them. Positive or critical, it's all good and it's all appreciated. Thanks. This is Jag Taggart 93 signing out. Y'all have a good one.